The Move tool has some shortcuts built into it that are probably the ones I use more than anything else in Photoshop, so I thought I'd do this particular tutorial to show you a few of those. So here I have a file that's got a lot of objects on it, and each one is on its own layer. Now if I wanted to specifically grab this one right here, I could hunt for it in my layers by turning the eyeball off and on and then saying, okay, well here's that layer. There's a faster way to do that though. First I have to have my Move tool. So grab your Move tool here at the top of the toolbar or hit V to get it quicker. If you hold down Command and click on an object out here, you'll notice that that layer becomes active in the Layers panel. And that way I don't have to hunt, and I actually, in my working workflow, I tend not to even name layers just because this is such a fast method. If I do happen to name layers though, and even have a couple of them lined up over each other, I can right click and it will give me a list of all the layers that are underneath my cursor at that time, so I could go right to it. Mostly I find this function is useful with text layers, because if there's text layers, they're automatically named whatever that text is. So here I'm just holding down Command, clicking on something, and then dragging it. If I wanted to make a quick copy of that layer, I could Command click on it to make that layer active, and then hold down Option and Command at the same time, so that when I clicked and dragged on that layer, it would actually create a new layer. The auto select options are actually something built into the command or the Move tool. If you want to activate them, I will show you where they are. Up here in the tool control bar, there is the auto select box. If you check that, I'm not holding down Command or anything, but this is doing the same thing that holding down Command was. And if I check the show transform controls, when I click on something, it will automatically have transform controls. And I still have to hit enter to finalize. However, I don't care for these functions to be on because it's just too easy to accidentally grab the wrong thing and move it or resize it. The other thing to know is that if I have a bunch of layers that have been grouped into a folder, the Move tool has a function for when you are command clicking on something to choose, it will, instead of picking the layer, actually pick that group of things, and you would move them all at once. This can actually be really useful, but it can also be frustrating if you're trying to select this blue layer, for example, but instead you're grabbing all of these other layers. The reason for that is because here in the tool control panel, you are set to select group. So I would suggest coming in here and turning it to layer, because that's the function that you will use the most often. And then once you've done, if you ever need it to be chosen by group, you can change it to group, and then just move it back to layer when you're done. The other nifty thing that Photoshop has is some alignment tools. So here if I have several objects and I want to line them up perfectly, I can hold down Command, click and drag to grab all of those layers, and then you'll notice up here in the control bar all of these alignment options became available. So I could click this one to spread them out equally, and then maybe even this one to give them all the same level along the bottom of the layer. So that's one way that I can quickly line things up by using my Move tool. And I think that's pretty much it for the Move tool. It's super nifty. You can actually grab it automatically if I'm by holding the Command key most times. So here I've grabbed my brush tool, and if I hold down the Command, it automatically becomes that Move. Or rather, it will just move the layer that I'm on, but if I want to select it, I have to grab my Move tool and then hold down Command and click. So, okay, well there's the shortcuts. Hold down Command for almost any other tool will get you the Move tool, and if you hit V to get the Move tool and then hold down Command, you can click on any object to get it to that object. If you change this to group and click on something that's in a group, it'll choose the group, and if you click and drag from outside of an object, you can select multiple layers at the same time.